The future of Dungeons and Dragons is here. We just saw the sneak peek of everything. D&D 1 or 1 D&D, whichever one they're calling it. I think D&D 1 sounds cool because it's editionless. They have moved in a direction of not worrying about 5.5 or 6th edition, 7th edition, and these big overhauls coming out. It's just an update to the core system of 5th edition. They have found the balance point of that is where they want to keep, and they're just going to add extra stuff onto it. More spell options, more other options, and just update things instead of do entire overhauls, because it's gotten to a great point and it's very user friendly, and 5th edition is very well liked and all that kind of stuff. So I really love the direction they're going. And they even said in the announcement video that any addition, adventure module or whatever is still going to be able to be used in the new update in 2024. But what does that look like? They have some playtest material here that I want to show you guys that we're going to get into here in just a second. I'm just going to share my thoughts with it, show some interesting character creation stuff. This main bulk of this is character options, feats, backgrounds, races, all of that kind of stuff. And it's super speaking to me, and this whole announcement got me super excited because I just released Alcanar's Almanac of All Things, which is an expansion to 5th edition, and it's going to even be more applicable towards the future because everything you're using for 5th edition now, you can use there. Alcanar's Almanac is going to be a tried and true test all the way through into D&D 1 and all that kind of stuff too. And another system that I have made before Alcanar's Almanac and is going to be a part of a future Kickstarter is a point by feat system of character creation. And I'm bringing that up right now because this thing is moving in the direction that I already did about 2 years ago when I released my point by feat system. It's one of the most popular PDFs on my website. It is definitely the thing that I was doing in the way that I've always built characters, and it looks like Dungeons & Dragons is going in that same direction. So stay tuned because I'm probably going to have it timed up to where the next Kickstarter that I do is going to be a character creation overhaul of how to create characters, launched right alongside this D&D edition to give you even more options, because let's get into those options right now. Character origins is what they're talking about. You're going to have a character's race. Whenever you have your character, you're going to pick its race, background, languages, and it's going to come with some feats, and then we'll talk about the rule glossary. But really, your character is going to have a race, a class, and a background, and those three things together is going to give you the picture of what your character is. Your class is pretty obvious. That's a whole separate thing. You know, pick your class. You have subclasses. That's all obvious. Race and background are the two big things in this thing. So let's go into that real quick. Determine your origin, race, background, and language. They're separating language and background, but you pick your language as part of your background. So I would lump these together as far as that goes. But it goes into this also is available. I'll put this in the link in the description if you want to kind of scroll through this yourself with me as we go along here. All of this stuff, as you can see, the 2014 Player's Handbook, it's all the same as the other ones, and they are referencing the other players' handbook, so there's going to be a lot of similar stuff, and there's just going to be a little expansion pack onto it, just like Alcanar's Almanac. That link will be down in the description too. So you got your creature type, size, speed, lifespan, special traits, all of that stuff's all standard. And then we now have background, and your ability score bonus is tied to your background. I like that. Honestly, instead of tying it to your race, they're tying it to your background, because in different races, you can have a strong goblin or a weak goblin. You can have a smart goblin or a dumb goblin. You can have all kinds of things from everywhere. So tying it to background, I think actually makes a lot more sense, because it's what you've done. What have you done with your life up to this point to cause that +2 or +1 to go wherever you're one? I absolutely love it. Now, myself, I'm going to just homebrew this as 3 points that you can't put in one spot, just in general, right? So my players are going to have, all right, you got 3 points, put them wherever you want. You just can't put them all in one spot. Cool, right? So they could go 1, 1, 1, they could go 2, 1, whatever they want to do. I think that's the better way to do it. Myself, that's just my impromptu homebrew rule right there. Skill proficiencies, of course, should be tied to background, and this is how I've always done it. I have always done it as, hey, your background, pick 2 proficiencies. Just pick 2, whatever 2 makes sense, right? Now, they have further down here, they have pre-made backgrounds that are just like in the book they have, but these backgrounds are updated, right, to fit this new model and this honestly way better model than what's the backgrounds are currently. So pick 2 skill proficiencies, and a single tool proficiency, a single language, a single feat, and then you get your equipment, right? Absolutely exactly what I've been doing for years now. So I'm loving that they're the direction they're going in, and I'm already ready for it. And if you have the point by feat system, this is already like, wow, this is already what DC did already. Anyway, so tool proficiencies, you get 1. For myself, another homebrew I do is I lump these together, and you get 2 coupons of tools or language. You can spend them both on languages and get 2 languages, or both on tools and get 2 tools. Cool. I don't know why you have to force someone to have an additional language. In general, most people I know only know one language, so I don't think it's a fantasy setting though. And there's lots of fantasy like different dialects and stuff, so maybe that's fine. But I always do that just in general. I'm going to do that same here thing as well. So you get your ability scores, you get your 2 proficiencies, you get your little flavor stuff, and then they give you a feat, right? I think this is really awesome. I've always done this at level 1 whenever characters create their characters and stuff. They give me their backstory, they give me all this stuff, and then I give them a bonus feat as like a little present of a, here you go, we'll start the campaign off. And they are doing this now permanently, right? It's also part of the actual feats as well. So I absolutely love that, and I completely agree, because you're going to get some sort of feat, however powerful or not. But the only thing I will say is negative about this, and the one part that I'm worried about, but I'm going to give you a solution for whenever I get this whole thing launched and ready to go, is brand new characters. Brand new players are going to really struggle with having to choose a feat. My God, it's already hard enough to get a character going for a brand new player. And they're going to have to, sure, you roll for stats. You get your stats and you assign points and you explain to them what all that means. They have to pick the proficiencies and you explain to them all what that means. They have to pick tools, and do they want to, they pick a language, and now they have to get a huge log of feats. How many different feats are there? What kind of different feats are there? Hopefully the dungeon master is able to narrow it down to like, here, pick between these 3, right? Or just pick one for them. That might be where I would kind of lean towards, and do the same type of thing that I already do, is describe to me your character. Oh, it really sounds like they should be having this feat. I'll give them this feat, or homebrew my own feat, or combine 2 feats together and take the best and leave the worst, and all that good stuff, right? That's what I would do for feats. And then equipment is always going to be equipment. I would love to see, and I'm going to myself give a better system of equipment so that you can just have a quick pick and choose and go on from there. But we can only get into so much in one video. So characters, races, they go into this whole thing explaining kind of some of the stuff that I said. I'm not going to read through this with you guys. I hate those types of things where people are just reading everything. You can read it and we'll kind of scan through this together, right? So I've already read the whole thing myself just before I'm making this video. So for humans, I really like what they're going with this whole, they are resourceful and they gain inspiration when you finish a long rest. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What? They are tying in inspiration into the core of the game. I love it, right? I have a whole chapter in Alcanar's Almanac dedicated to inspiration and how you can use it in your games. This matches up to that. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Now, I might have certain stipulations about the inspiration, and depending on your inspiration system, and the whole thing in Alcanar's Almanac is custom ways to make your own inspiration system. I might add some tweaks to where you have to be within a city or something, or you have to be in a safe area to gain inspiration. I don't know. Depends on your inspiration system, but I just in general love inspiration, and I don't think people use it enough because they haven't found a way that fits them right. That's why I did the whole chapter on it. But anyway, I think that's crazy. And then skillful, of course, at proficiency, skillful human person, awesome, cool. And then versatile, you gain the skilled feat. Another thing, awesome, more skills, right? And then, or I do love this, or another feat of your choice, a first level feat. Keep that in mind too. There's going to be levels to feats. Now I know there's always been requirements to feats, and certain feats need certain levels, and mainly so in like warlocks with their invocations, you need to have certain prerequisites and certain levels accomplished before you're able to. But to do that with actual feats, I absolutely love that. And feats are going to be more customizable, more options. Now, again, for those beginner players, I don't know. That's going to be a little bit of much for them, and I'm going to try and make some resources to ease that for those players. But I love it myself. I love the customization options, right? And they've also added this Humans of Many Worlds. They've done it for every single one of these, the Dragonborns of Many Worlds. They've added this little paragraph there just to purely open up, right? Because I don't want people to be afraid of like making something stereotypical, a stereotypical orc, or a stereotypical tiefling, a stereotypical Ardling, which is we're going to get to in a second, or Aasimar, angelic, whatever. But this entire paragraph of many worlds is there's so many options. It's not just the narrow only this way. It's anything, and all in making you think outside the box, outside the world box of different ways you can make these characters. I think that's really cool, and another really awesome option that honestly I'm taking inspiration from that. And what I'm going to do in my own resource that I'm going to be publishing, like I've talked about, is taking this, but give actual, like these 2 paragraphs are great, these 2 little mini paragraphs, but taking that, running with it, and giving like bullet point lists of different kinds of crazy things that humans could be and maybe where you could come from and stuff. I really love that. More options, more flavorful options too. Ardlings is a new race here. Ardlings, if you don't know what an Ardling is, it's a animal person, a animal hybrid situation. Ardlings have a head resembling an animal, typically with various associations. So it's going to be, and you can see it right here: cat, eagle, goat, mule, elf, bear, dog, all that kind of stuff. So like a dog head person, right? So that interesting. Direct. I don't know. Myself personally, I'm not too excited about that. But I think that's going to be super exciting for some people, and it's just another race added into the options. Go for it. And there's already a bunch of like humanoid animal-like creatures in the first place, so this will fit right along with that. Like the Elatar, I call them Elatars. I know it's the elephant people, and then there's the hippo space people that they just the Gulf or whatever. All of those different animal races. This is just a wide swept one. The weird thing though is the Ardling traits is angelic flight. They're like really heavily tying Ardlings to the upper planes, which I love. All the planes and stuff going on. Another thing that I've noticed through this document, and another thing I've noticed in multiple other times, is planes. They just did a huge thing on Spelljammer, and I'm about to do a huge thing on Spelljammer 2 in the next month or two. Stay tuned for that. I have a whole thing that's brewing on Spelljammer. I'm going to release that next week though, so stay tuned. But they've been moving towards this open plane, space, all the planes of existence, right? So I would not be surprised at all if there's a planes of existence entire setting book thing coming out soon, and I bet your bottom dollar that I'll be right there for it, because the planes are one of my favorite things. But anyway, lots of stuff about planes here with these Ardlings. Angelic flight I think is weird though. I think it should be based off your animal. Like if you're a toad, having angelic flight, I don't know. I personally, whenever I present this alongside it, I'm going to have different options. Like I already have in my point by feet system, I have animalistic options where there's different things for climbing speeds or possibly flying speeds, or things to having a tail where you have a tail now and it's prehensile tail. There's lots of cool things. So if you have a monkey, then you have a monkey tail. It's a prehensile tail you can use as another appendage. Cool, right? So the blanket flying I think feels weird unless you are an eagle or a raven. Owl, you know what I'm saying? Stork, whatever. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Ardlings. I don't know. Not ultimately excited, but I think it's a really cool option that I think could have been presented differently. With the wide variety of animals you can be, you should have a wide variety of feats you get based on the animal that you can reflavor to be whatever you want. Okay, cool. Dragonborn, awesome. I'm not going to go read through each of these, but they have already updated Dragonborns in a recent edition and everything. So this is more Dragonborn traits, better breath weapons, all that kind of stuff. Super awesome. They did Fizz bands, updated dragons and Dragonborn, all that kind of stuff. Dwarves, elves. Before I forget, there's another really cool thing right here. Children of humankinds, right? They call these wondrous pairings, right? Of two different humanoids combined together to make a new baby, right? So orc, tiefling. Oh, what would that look like? Ardling, human. Oh, so it's like an animal humanoid and a human, but so it's like barely an animal human, so it's got like barely a nose and you know what I'm saying? So like, it's really interesting way to do this, and I thought that's a super awesome thing. But then there's the little bit of a missed opportunity, and I think what I want here is more customization, and that's what I'm going to be presenting and giving to you guys. So again, if any of the stuff that I'm saying that I'm going to be making sounds good to you guys, go to my website, thedungeoncoach.com, sign up to the newsletter. I don't send things out that often unless I release big, huge things like this. That's going to be coming. It's going to be coming to my patrons and coming to my website. So stay tuned for all of that, because what I think this should be, what the game says it should be, is if you have, let's just say you did a tiefling and human. Okay, cool. So if you have a tiefling and a human, you have to pick which stats you get, right? So if you could pick the tiefling stats or you pick the human stats. You can only pick one as far as the stats go, and then you can flavor everything else, right? And you determine the lifespan and all the averages between all the other stuff that doesn't ultimately matter. But as far as in-game mechanics, you have to pick one or the other. I think it would be a great option if you had a certain amount in each, and this is already what I do with my point by feat system, is you're assigned 8 points or so, right? Depending on how much you want to start off the game with. If you want to start off with less points and be a little bit more gritty and gruely and they're weaker, cool, start off with less points. If you want to start off with more and they have more options, give them more. But if, let's just say you have 8 points at the very beginning, and a tiefling has 8 points worth of cool stuff. A human has 8 points worth of cool stuff, all represented easily here within tools and language. These are all worth points and all this kind of stuff. The feats are going to be worth points. The different traits that they have are worth points. If we go down to human, right, the skillful, this would be points. Versatile, that would be worth points. Resourceful, that would be worth certain amounts of balanced amount of points, right? And then whenever you get to make these hybrid things, you can take, oh, let's see, I want to do an elf and an orc. Whoa, that's cool. But I want to take these points from the orc and these points from the elf, and this is my character. And that could be represented in a min-max optimization type way to be able to accomplish what you want to do, and you make a certain race that's perfect for what you want to do, and that's exciting. Go for it, min-max optimizers. That's awesome. Or you could have it come from a place of like, oh, okay, so I want their skin to be a little harder and more dense, so that because of their ancestry of all that kind of stuff is able to be done if you can take these little things. So that's what I'll be doing. So stay tuned for that. But I thought that was really cool. And just reading this gets me excited for the future of Dungeons and Dragons, and excited for what I can give you guys and what I can provide in this journey of D&D 1, what I can give to the table to be able to make your D&D 1 experience as best as possible. So back to dwarf traits, elf traits, all that kind of stuff, gnomes, halflings, keeping going through here, orc, tiefling, all that stuff. Everything's here for you to read. Now we're in character backgrounds, right? Character backgrounds. Backstory is the story you write about where you came from. Background is the actual, tangible, all that kind of stuff. I've always separated the two like that. So this again hits in with that. So your character's background, you're going to have, there's a bunch of sample backgrounds they have, so we'll go through those. But you build your own background. This is pretty much how I've handled all backgrounds, is they've all just been build your own. I literally say like, all right, what 2 ability scores do you want? We've already talked about ability scores. You get 2 skill proficiencies, 1 tool, 1 language, cool. And then you get 1 first level feat of your choice, and then you get the equipment. Cool, done. Right now, interesting, your character gains 50 gold to spend on starting equipment. The character keeps any unspent gold as a spark coin. That's pretty much exactly what I've done. I haven't had every character get 50, because based on your background and based on your backstory, you might not have 50 gold. You might have less than that. You might have more than that, right? And I factor that in. So I, as a dungeon master, give them a certain amount of D4s to roll, and then that times 10 is usually how much the gold they get. So a lot of times it will average around 50, because if I give them 1 D4 or 2 D4s, or I give them most, I think 3 D4s, I've given 4 before in outlier situations, but the average of all of that would be somewhere around 50. So yeah, gold. And then they can go shopping with that. So that's easy enough. Okay. So sample backgrounds. Here's a great example. We're going to start off with, we're going to do a sample background. Let's do a different sample background. Let's do a gladiator, right? So +2 strength, +1 charisma. Oh, I see what they did there. They went with charisma because they're like a gladiator instead of constitution. I see what you see what I'm saying. Though I love that you could take a gladiator and be like, no, I want to switch this to constitution. Love the modularity and customization, right? Athletics performance. They're really dialing up the performance of this gladiator, right? I love that. Tool proficiency, smith's tools. Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're making their weapons. They're repairing weapons. Okay, cool. Language, orc. Flavor. I see the flavor there, because there maybe there's a bunch of orcs inside the fighting pit with them. Okay, cool. I see where they're going with that. Feat, savage attacker. Boom. You get a first level feat, savage attacker. Awesome feat for this character at level 1. Super awesome. Cool. Maybe people will start at level 1 more often if they get a little feat action, instead of being like, I want to start at 3rd level. No, I have a whole video on why you should always start at 1st level, but I'll save that rant for that video. And then this now is some extra flavor that they didn't talk about. They didn't talk about that up here, right? Up here, when they talk about build your own backgrounds, background features, languages, all that kind of stuff, they say feat, and then they don't say feature. I have always given my characters some sort of feature, right? Now, what I mean by feature is this text right here. Your first few appearances at Gladiator Pit led you to appreciate every one of those scars you carry in instruction sparring. All of this for you forever share a remarkable bond with other pit fighters in your stable. That is so cool, right? Oh, and then equipment. Then they get this equipment. Okay, cool. And there's their equipment. I absolutely love that these backgrounds give you equipment. And that can just be like, what's my equipment? What background you pick? There you go, right? And Dungeon Masters is going to save you a bunch. It's having that pre-made equipment. That is huge, right? So that is super awesome that they are giving the equipment in there as well. So I love that too, for Dungeon Masters and for players. It just makes things easier, right? But this, I think, is something that they should say. Your first few appearances, like this flavor text is awesome, right? Where'd you come from? So if you do build your own background, right? I would challenge my players to this. If you do build your own background, where'd you come from? Give me a little excerpt of where you came from. And maybe I'd have them answer that before they choose their feat and other stuff like that. And maybe let them really let this set the tone for everything else that they choose. And again, you can choose anything in any order. When you're making a character, you can choose your class first, you can choose your background first, you can choose your race first, whatever, right? But that's just another thought right there. So I love these preset things all the way through. There's so many of them, right? Starting languages, and there's all the different languages, rare languages. I love that they've separated these just to kind of really make it clear as far as like, oh yeah, Abyssal's probably not. You're going to have a reason if you choose Abyssal for your starting language. What? And then feats. I love seeing all the feats here. Here's a description with all the feats. First level feat, prerequisites none, repeatable no, meaning you can't take it multiple times, and you're always on the lookout for danger and you gain these benefits. And then boom, you can actually swap your initiative order immediately after you roll initiative. You can swap your initiative with the initiative of one willing ally of the same combat. Bang, I love that. Absolutely love that. So many cool options that they are giving here. The alert feat's not gone, it's just updated. And this does not take away anything from the past, it just is adding on. So I absolutely love it. And if you point by feat system, again, that's why I mentioned it at the beginning, and this is so in line with what I did with that. What I did with the point by feat system to create the thing that I did with hundreds of feats you can choose from is I took all of the normal feats and blew them up into parts in each piece. So this is a great example. You gain the following benefits. There's 2 benefits, right? This would be like worth 1 point, right? I have usually everything on a 1 to 3 point scale just for balance purposes. I'd say that's worth 1 point. And then for initiative proficiency, when you roll initiative, you add your proficiency bonus. That's amazing. That's amazing. Instead of this flat +5 or all that kind of stuff, or you can't be surprised. Or I really love this. I really love this. So that I would say that's worth 2. I mean, how many times you roll combat and proficiency? That's like, dude. So this whole alert feat is worth 3 points. 2 points here, 1 point there. Awesome. And whenever I have my point by feat system and all the different stuff, there's going to be tons of those things with all these different options to be able to pick and choose from all that type of stuff. But these are pretty cool. So again, not going to go through every single one of these feats, but they explain it right here. Parts of a feat, there's a level requirement to the feat, a prerequisite, and if it's repeatable or not. So feats are super simple, and you can go through here. Musician, first level feat. All of these are first level feats. I don't see any multiple higher level feats, but I think that's cool that they're leaving that there. I didn't find one. I didn't see any now. Tough feat. There we go. Hit points. It's not repeatable, but hit point maximum increases. You're going to see some familiarity, and you're going to see an expansion and an update to all of this. Rules glossary, and they're going through all the different stuff. And then critical hits. I would say all of these types of things here from here. These last 2 pages and more spell lists, unarmed strikes, difference of tremor sense, and everything. That's going to be in different conditions, grappled condition. Okay, so there is the big, huge update with a lot of thoughts towards character creation. All of these other rules, I do have some other thoughts on, but if you guys want to see more expanded thoughts on this D&D 1 on these last 2 pages, that's going to be a whole different thing, because I wanted to keep this focus on character creation because it's speaking to me so much because of my point by feat system, and it is going to be a Kickstarter coming out in about a year or so. Alchemist's Almanac was my first Kickstarter. That went amazingly well and is going to let us straight into the second Kickstarter, which is not been named or announced yet, but it is a crafting gold system. It is to be able to make anything in the game and how to have gold economy in the game, how much things cost, how much a magic item costs. You are literally going to have a very easy to use formulas to be able to create anything you want and then also know how much it's worth. So that's going to be all paired together. That's second Kickstarter. The third Kickstarter, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, is this character creation stuff that I already have in the works. So if you want to see the glimmer of the foundation of that, it is the point by feat system. Link for that will be down in the description, along with Alchemist's Almanac, along with this guide that this new expansion that I've been reading through. this Unearthed Arcana stuff going on here. If you guys want to see more on my thoughts on the rest of these rules outside of character creation, let me know. Depending on how well this video does, I could do another follow-up to this. Things have been a little crazy around the house right now. Wife has COVID, and I've been having to do a lot. I'm filming this while my kid's asleep and stuff, because I'm being a single dad right now. My wife's quarantining and all this kind of stuff's going on, but I wanted to make this video real quick for you guys. That's why it's also been a one-take shot here. So apologize for that and all the fancy. I'm just going to go for it. So if you guys want more of this, let me know. I'm excited for the future of D&D 1. Oh, let's go. Oh, I almost said it. I almost didn't sign off. Stay creative. Think outside the box. Peace.